historical research.
Captain, I'm getting something.
Put it on audio.
With that being said, demonic possession is very real, and there are certain entities that feed off of your energetic frequency. So with that being said, we're going to break down, the reason I'm going into democracy is because I want to break down how the matrix was set up in order to enslave souls to the point to where they either become so desperate to get out of it, or most people are in their lower selves, and your greed and your ego and that what you suffer from but feed will influence you to do what is called sell your soul by the same intelligent deities who set up this illusionary matrix in the first place so that they can inhabit your vessel in order to temporarily experience something that that they should be experiencing because it's not their turn to incarnate on this plane. So with that being said, we know that America was founded by Masons. We know that all of the goddamn presidents have been Masons. So with that being said, Masons practice occult and Luciferianism. This is not for debate, this is a fact. So that being said, the whole origins of Masonry is non-African. This is a fact. Okay? Now why is this important? Because the matrix, the dollar, was all created by people who worship demons. Every goddamn year, all these goddamn Masons go to the goddamn Angel Grove and conjure up spirits. They do this on a monthly in they individual lodges, and on a yearly they come together and do this at the goddamn Cedar Grove. So that being said, family? When we talking about selling your soul, what is selling your soul? We know that your soul doesn't have a dollar value. Selling your soul is allegorical to this actual experience and interaction that I'm going to break down. What happens is an entity may not be able to incarnate on this planet Earth for whatever reason, because planet Earth actually doesn't have to let you come back. Everything is frequency. You might have did so much shit on this planet that your frequency is so negative, planet Earth will not allow you to come back or circumnavigate the ley lines in order to inhabit a vessel. So what happens is, what a person does is they say, and you can go down the different souls that possess certain knowledges in regards to their thousands of years of existence that they hold that we can't access because they're not in our spectrum of life. So you can go watch that video for more details on the subject. But with that being said, what happens is once you take the oath, right, and you reach a certain status, you might say, okay, I want to sell my soul for a better living condition or luxury or whatever it is you personally want that actually has no meaning. So what happens is the entity says, okay, I'll allow you such a status within a democracy or the realm I created in exchange for you, your vessel. So I'm gonna use a rapper as an example. Rappers have fans, right? Fans do what? What does your fan in your house do? It blows wind, a.k.a. projects energy. So if I'm rapping I got my whole crowd on the entire low frequency, and they're my fans. They're projecting me their energy. And it is at this point in time when these entities are inhabiting these people, these vessels, these beings, And these entities are absorbing the frequency that they would not be able to experience because they rightfully are not supposed to be inside of a physical vessel. So in exchange for you to allow these demonic ass spirits to inhabit you, they allow you a higher seat within Babylon, a.k.a. America. It's all going to tie back into democracy, so just hold on, family. Now, because you might be thinking, what does this have to do with democracy? I'm finna make my point. But with that being said, demonic possession is being done every day. We see it. And now, even when you're dealing with celebrities, once they pierce the once the vagal-basal process is complete, the entity is now able to sit into the being, and the being now has dual personality. Such as you see Nicki Minaj, she's now goddamn Roma, Martha, and all of these goddamn Roman deity spirits, right? Beyonce, that she's Sasha Fierce. She already admitted that something magically takes over her and does something that she's not naturally able to do when she gets on the stage. So with that being said, it's happening. The occult is being practiced right in front of your face.
So obviously we are introduced to Sukuna almost immediately in the story. However, his own story begins 1,000 years ago. This era was known as the Golden Age of Jujutsu sorcery, and among all of the sorcerers, Sukuna was by far the most powerful. This was to the point that despite being human, he was often called an imaginary demon. That being said, even though he is human, in the flashback that we see, or the legend that Gojo reveals to us, we see him standing as this four-eyed, four-armed monster surrounded by flames. You know, not the most human-looking dude I've ever seen. This man was an absolute force of nature, though, and it took a large group of other sorcerers banding together to fight at their absolute best to take him down. However, death was far from the end for Sukuna, because he had such a wealth of cursed energy. Upon his death, he transformed into a curse himself. This is kind of interesting because Geto's sorcerer in history, excluding Gojo and maybe a few other cases, would become a curse himself. Regardless, in order to contain this powerful curse, the 20 fingers which it was divided between were sealed away as cursed objects. However, their power would continue to grow over time, and by the time that Yuji's story begins, the seals are beginning to weaken. Of course, the occult members would completely unseal one finger, and Yuji would go on to eat that, and with some of Sukuna's energy now being released, the rest of the fingers start to resonate and more rapidly draw in the curses around them.
Arguing that he didn't vote for this guy.
You know who voted for you? Because I sure didn't.
Okay. Which actually foreshadows the big reveal. The mayor isn't a real human being after all, but an android being piloted by none other than Cats and LeQuack, notorious Cursed Cowardly Dog villains. Cats and LeQuack explain themselves, giving us insight into the strange frequency the dogs have been affected by. The frequency is being emitted from a dark magic meteor that crashed and landed onto Earth eons ago, implied to be the same meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs. For a second. So by the implications of this film's grand revelation, everything supernatural throughout the Curse of Cowardly Dog series has all been the result of this dark matter meteor. More or less mutations, with a little law of attraction sprinkled in.
The eruption of the Cumbre Vieja Ridge on the island of La Palma. From October 25th to 26th, the ground underlying this central volcano was rapidly pushed upwards by 10 centimeters or 4 inches in only 24 hours. If I was to see this at a volcano in the United States, I would be worried. However, context is key. This ground uplift is due to the supply of magma to the volcano being larger than the vents can output. Thus, a body of magma is slowly building underground, and much like a mole digging underground, it pushes the ground upwards. This rate of uplift has already occurred twice, once in September and once on October 12th. Both periods are followed by increased lava output from the active vents and towering fountains of lava. Thus, during the most recent rapid uplift, the tallest lava fountains yet witnessed.
A slide from this mountain could kill millions of people in Europe and along America's eastern seaboard. Some eminent scientists warn that it's purely a matter of time till it happens. This is the volcanic island of La Palma, 700 miles off the northwest coast of Africa. It's a newborn baby island, barely past its 4 millionth birthday, created in the last stage of what geologists call the rock cycle. But elsewhere, as here on La Palma, more violent eruptions build steep-sided cones with surrounding layers of thick ash. Eruptions in the past 60 years have jolted this island to the core, creating a fault line, a crack you can walk through, along the island's central spine, 6,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean. On the western side of the fault, the land fell 13 feet down, then stopped. Geologist Bill McGuire and other scientists say gas pressures could build up in a future eruption and crack open the island along this fault line. They have traced the fault for at least 9 miles along the island ridge. And they believe the fault is so long that when it cracks open, 500 billion tons of rock will slide thousands of feet down into the ocean. The vast amount of energy pumped into the ocean will create what one scientist has called a mega tsunami. Tsunami waves racing out in all directions. Computer predictions suggest they could even travel 4,000 miles toward the eastern seaboard of the United States, losing some, but not all of their power along the way.
That wave will travel all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to the east coast of North America, but the water itself won't move all the way across. The individual particles in the water will transmit the energy to
Transfers from water particle to water particle across the ocean. As the landslide's energy approaches the coast, it builds up into a massive wall of water. These deep reds and blues are computer predictions of waves 100 feet high and more.